In this week's Voice of the Fan, we asked you who is the best second-year quarterback in the NFL, and you vote, and we have the results for you. And I'm joined by Associate Editor Dan Parr to break it all down. And Dan, let's start at the bottom. Jake Locker, 2% of the vote. Christian Ponder, 3% of the vote. Not a lot of surprise. Those guys have had some struggles. Locker's had some injury issues. And then there was Cam Newton, who came in third place. He had a great performance on Monday night against the Eagles. You cover the Panthers, very familiar with Cam Newton's having a tough sophomore season. But are fans a little too harsh in this poll about his skills?
Well, apparently 14% of them were not, but the vast majority obviously feel like he doesn't measure up. And I think what you're looking at with Cam Newton right now is the win-loss record really jumps out to people. As twice as many losses as wins in his career so far. Until that changes, Cam Newton's not going to get the respect that other quarterbacks that are leading winning teams or teams that have either been to the playoffs or appear to be heading there this year. Until he gets to that point, despite all his talent, he's not going to be getting the kind of support from fans around the league that these other guys are.
And coming in at second place, which is really interesting, Colin Kaepernick, 23% of the vote. Only 2 starts in his career the last 2 weeks. So obviously the least experienced of all the quarterbacks mentioned in this poll, but Kaepernick looked very good in that Monday night win over the Bears, and then again against the Saints. He beat 2 teams that you covered, Dan, so you were paying close attention to those games. Are fans getting a little too excited about Colin Kaepernick so far, or can we really judge from these 2 games that maybe he is the second best second-year quarterback in the NFL?
It's really hard for me to say. I mean, at this very moment, yes, but what he's not had to go through that these other quarterbacks have is having defenses go through a full offseason, be able to review tape of him on the field and as an NFL quarterback and adjust to him. So that is yet to be determined for Colin Kaepernick, though you had to be very impressed with what you've seen so far from him.
Yeah, Kaepernick also has the benefit of maybe being on the best team, period, in the 49ers. Look at that offensive line, the defense, the weapons around him. Definitely a good situation for Kaepernick. Coming in first and really running away with it, Bengals quarterback Andy Dalton. 58% of you think that he is the best second-year quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, Dalton's been on a tear the past few weeks, really brought the Bengals back into the playoff hunt. But is this maybe some ballot box stuffing or people with short memories here? Or do we really, does he deserve this much respect for the way that he's played this season?
I think it's another sign of just how much quarterbacks are judged by wins and losses, maybe more so than numbers, although Andy Dalton's been very good for the Bengals so far in his career. They're in the playoff hunt again this year, made it last season, but we talked about Cam Newton earlier. His passer rating is only a few points higher than Newton's throughout the course of their careers, so the numbers don't maybe suggest that the disparity between these 2 quarterbacks should be as wide as it is, but again, those wins and losses, those are the big differences between these 2 teams. You can't pin all of it on a quarterback and you can't give him all the credit, but unfortunately, I think that happens a little bit too often, and maybe that's what we're seeing here with the outcome of this vote.
And we talked about Colin Kaepernick having weapons around him. How did Andy Dalton, maybe the best weapon any of these quarterbacks have, and wide receiver A.J. Green, who came in with him last year. The 2 of them have had quite the connection over the past couple seasons. All right, Dan, you're sitting where Arthur Arkus usually sits, and I always put him on the spot at the end, so I'm going to do that with you. If you were to pick right now, who on this list, the second-year quarterbacks, is the best?
I'm going to go with Cam Newton. I know that the Panthers just have not been a good team ever, really, under his leadership as their quarterback, but in terms of pure talent, no one on this list compares with him. So if you can get the right supporting cast for Cam Newton, get the right coaching staff for Cam Newton, I think Rob Chudzinski hasn't done a great job this year, and I don't think Ron Rivera, whose background is in defense, is probably the brightest offensive mind in terms of the head coaching ranks. I think that has put him at a little bit of a disadvantage. So I think if you support him a little bit more, his pure talent to me just stands out, just head and shoulders above the rest of the group here.
Yeah, as much as I want to pick Andy Dalton for obvious reasons, the 2 of us have a lot in common, being red-headed, very good quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Cam Newton. I think he does have the most talent, and we saw it last season. And the thing against Dalton that really, one thing negative on him, 0-6 in his career against the Ravens and Steelers. I'd like to see him beat some of those rivals in the AFC North before putting him in that category. But dude, he does deserve a lot of credit for the way he's played, and I'd like to see Cam Newton maybe in his 3rd year. When we do this video next year, best 3rd-year quarterback, see where Cam Newton ranks, and also curious to see where Colin Kaepernick ranks next year. All right, what do you think about these results? Do you agree that Andy Dalton is the best second-year quarterback in the NFL? Let us know on the YouTube channel or head to our website at profootballweekly.com.